Good evening. Welcome. I'm Claire VanBlaricum, a member of the League of Women Voters of Santa Barbara Voter Services Committee and the moderator of tonight's forum. The League is sponsoring the forum for the candidates for Santa Barbara City Council Districts 4 and 6. The forum is being co-sponsored by the Santa Barbara Goleta Valley branch of AAUW, the American Association of University Women, and TVSantaBarbara. We hope this forum will inform you, the voters, of the candidates' views on issues of interest. The League does not support or oppose any candidates. Following tonight's live stream on the League Facebook page, a recording of the forum will be available on the League's YouTube channel in both English and Spanish, and there will be a link to the YouTube recording on the League of Women Voters of Santa Barbara website. Thank you to Silvio Uribe of Transil Pro, who is recording the Spanish language version of this forum, and also thanks to Television Santa Barbara, TVSB, for their technical wizardry in setting up this virtual platform. The candidates for District 4 are Kristen Sneddon, Incumbent; Barrett Reed, City Planning Commission member and commercial real estate developer with the Miramar Group. Candidates for District 6 are Meagan Harmon, Incumbent; Jason Carlton, electrician and business owner; Nina Johnson, Senior Assistant to the Santa Barbara City Administrator; and Zachary Pike, soil technician and musician. Thank you to the candidates for agreeing to participate in tonight's forum. Here's how the forum will work. The candidates will each make a brief opening statement of 2 minutes. I will then ask 8 to 10 questions, depending on time available, and each candidate will respond up to 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes. Following the questions, each candidate will then give a closing statement of up to 2 minutes. I will be rotating the order in which I ask the questions so that everyone has a chance to go first and to be last. I will also be acting as timekeeper as well as moderator, watching a countdown clock as the candidates are speaking. I will ask them to stop when their time is up, only completing the sentence they are on at that time. Is everyone ready, candidates? If so, here we go. Opening statements, 2 minutes each. We will start with Kristen Sneddon, Incumbent, District 4.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's been an honor to serve as your council member. We're going to talk about a lot of issues tonight, and I hope that I've earned your support over the last 4 years. I've worked hard for fire security, water security, infrastructure improvements, protecting our hillsides and open spaces, and working against overdevelopment, and for ensuring that housing is affordable to our first responders, teachers, our kids, and our grandkids. I'm right there with you. I have a 22-year-old, 18-year-old, and 13-year-old. We've been evacuated right alongside you and have been facing the challenges together. My background, I teach environmental geology at City College. I'm very well aware of the climate change challenges, mega fires, and drought before us. Thank you.
Thank you. Barrett Reed. Next statement, Barrett Reed.
Didn't get the mute button, sorry. Hey, Pamela. So thank you so much for setting this up. I'm a Santa Barbaran through and through. Santa Barbara's the only hometown I've known, at least in the 37 years or so growing up here in Santa Barbara. We're at the most important moment for our city in my lifetime. This isn't the Santa Barbara I grew up in. I'm sure it's not the Santa Barbara that most of us remember, and it's not what Santa Barbara should be. We've become a city without vision and action where it matters the most. So I'm running to take action to help turn this special city around, the most incredible city in the world. I'm running to help fix our homelessness crisis with tangible solutions to help those who need and want the help. I'm running because our downtown is in distress. I'm dedicated to bringing businesses and residents back to the heart of our city. Let's truly encourage and help revitalization. Make downtown clean and safe and welcoming like it once was. I'll also preserve and protect our single-family neighborhoods from development and refocus our housing priorities to our struggling downtown. I'll support and enhance our public safety, our impressive police and fire department to protect our homes, our businesses, and our families. I'm running to do more than talk or write reports, and you can count on me to take action and to follow through. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next opening statement will be Meagan Harmon, incumbent for District 6. Meagan?
Thank you so much, and thank you to the League of Women Voters of Santa Barbara for hosting this forum. Civic engagement, real conversations about the issues that truly matter to our local residents are critical to the functioning of our democracy. So I really appreciate this opportunity tonight. I'm gonna start just by sharing a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Santa Barbara County, and after completing my education and then spending some time internationally as a humanitarian aid worker, including a year spent in Afghanistan, my husband Nick and I were thrilled to come back to Santa Barbara with our daughter Mara, and now with our baby on the way, to make this amazing community our permanent home. I've been on the City Council representing District 6 for 2.5 years now, and representing you, my neighbors, has been the honor of my lifetime, and I'm so proud of what we've accomplished together. I have a proven track record of policy wins that directly improve the quality of life for District 6 residents. From increased rental assistance to eviction protection to really addressing homelessness. I know how to build coalitions across stakeholder groups and how to implement real policy. The past 18 months with the COVID-19 pandemic, we've all faced unforeseen challenges. Through it all, I've proven my ability to be effective and measured and to keep our neighbors and your needs at the forefront of our work. Like so many in our district, I'm a working mom, we rent our home. I know how difficult it is for downtown families to make ends meet. I know those challenges because I live them too. Soaring rent prices, the housing crunch, tenant protection, the very real fear of eviction, childcare infrastructure, economic opportunity, and on and on. I have spearheaded tangible, meaningful policy reform in each of these areas, and I'm going to continue to build on my record of proven effectiveness in my next term. So really looking forward to this conversation, and hope to have your vote. Thank you.
Very good. Jason Carlton, also District 6 candidate. Jason?
Thank you for hosting this. My name is Jason Carlton. I'm an electrical contractor in town. I've been coming to Santa Barbara since I was born, 47 years. My partner was born and raised in the downtown district, basically on the property we live on right now. The only reason I'm running for the 6th district seat is because I've watched this town slowly start to deteriorate over the last few years. And I really believe we need to bring the community back together and have City Hall work for us again. They've failed us with small businesses. They've been failing us with residents, high rents, a lack of helping the residents find, working jobs, except, sorry, I'm done.
Thank you. Nina Johnson, also District 6 candidate.
Thank you. Thank you so much for hosting this forum. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today and for everyone taking the time to understand our community's issues and hear from the different candidates about our positions. Like many of you, I love Santa Barbara. I've been a resident here in our community for 25 years, and I've lived in almost every district of the city. I've been very active in our community, in our nonprofits, and various organizations. Today, our city's at a pivotal moment. We're shaping our future for years to come with this upcoming election. We need strategic changes and a new council dynamic to improve our quality of life and protect what is special about Santa Barbara, the uniqueness and small town charm. I have great respect for our council members and how they give their time and attention for the public good, but I'm seeing an urgent need for vision, experience, long-term strategic thinking, and a more proactive, collaborative approach to solving problems. I'm stepping up to this call with 25 years of experience in the top ranks of City Hall and a strong track record of results. Knowing how everything works is key to fixing the system, and we need to get past talk and self-congratulation and be bolder in action, lose rules that no longer serve us. I am a registered Democrat, but I'm an independent thinker, and I'm not beholden to anyone. Bringing people together is my joy and passion, and if elected, the community is going to have my undivided attention. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Zachary Pike, also District 6 candidate.
Hi all, I'm Zachary Pike, and I've entered the race to kind of balance out the running. If I'm a familiar face, it's because you've probably seen me downtown. I've worked almost every kind of job anybody that grew up in this town could have worked, you know, mopping floors, bussing tables, construction labor. I went to La Cumbre Junior High, Santa Barbara High School, and Santa Barbara City College. I'm running to be a fair representative of District 6. I think that there are a lot of special interests that have been interested in the downtown district for decades because it's the business district. But the people that live here need people to represent them, someone on the council to represent them and their interests. It's not just a weekend out downtown. It's a work week. It's a weekday. We're the ones that have to move our cars on Mondays and Tuesdays. We forget. We pay the parking fine. Downtown living is a different kind of living. Santa Barbara is a beautiful town. We have so much going for us, but the beauty isn't the only thing that's great about this town. What's great about this town is the local culture and the arts. When people come here, they will see how the town treats the people who live here, and that's going to be the attraction, I think, in the future. So I'm running to keep this town realistic, practical. I like to cut some of the bloat in the government, the local government. I like to bring down the foundation to the basics. You know, we're a small town with big city problems, and I like to bring a sense of practicality to the run. So thank you for hosting this forum, and it's good to see you all here. This is going to be good. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll now begin the questions. Remember, you have 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes for each answer. We'll start the rotation with Barrett Reed, and the question is, under the city charter, the city council acts in the interest of the whole city and has fiduciary duties regarding public funds. How will you do this while listening to and representing the people of your specific district? Barrett, you are up first.
Very good question. Part of the focus of my campaign has been on the downtown, and the downtown is a key revenue generator for the entire city, including all 6 districts, and that's where we're getting hit particularly hard right now, trying to balance budgets with ongoing deficits. So I think a key for all districts, especially District 4 and the services we love, the parks and open spaces that we have, the failing infrastructure in our historic neighborhoods, this all comes out of the success or failure, largely, of our business districts and our downtown. So I've made downtown revitalization and State Street a point of emphasis in my campaign. And it's sad when I meet people at the door and talk about downtown, which is extremely important to residents in District 4. These people and families are largely not going downtown anymore, and that has a devastating impact on funding for what we want to preserve and protect and enhance in District 4.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Meagan Harmon, District 6 incumbent, next.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is a really interesting tension that you point to. The transition to a district-based system has been a challenge, but in a lot of ways, the district system has been really incredible for our community. It has opened up access to government to so many communities in the city of Santa Barbara that have previously not had access to political power, to people of color in our district, to renters, to having access to their government and to their representative in a really tangible way. But look, the truth is our lives don't stop at the boundaries of our district. I've said this before, I go to church in District 4. Our favorite restaurant is on the Mesa. Our lives are the totality of Santa Barbara. That is our job as city council members. Of course, we prioritize and bring to the fore the considerations and needs of our neighbors, but really our neighbors are interested in the health of the whole city. As a city council member, I am too.
Thank you. Jason Carlton next. Same question.
Yes, I think that being on city council, we need to look at balancing our budget and making it transparent to the public so the public knows where that money is going to. Because when I've walked the district and talked to business owners and landowners and renters, all of them see us paying a lot of money in taxes and fees and services, but yet we're not receiving those in the downtown district. We see a lot of homelessness. There's a lot of safety issues regarding needles, garbage, feces. I mean, there's a laundry list, and we really need to focus on bringing back our downtown district and revitalizing it, because the small businesses downtown are our lifeline. Thank you.
Nina Johnson.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a great question. I agree with Jason that we need to make sure there's transparency in all of our spending decisions and our council budget hearings, especially when there are large decisions that are being made and are on the table. I especially feel that in spending wisely, we need to be really careful before authorizing out-of-town consulting contracts. We need to be tapping our talented community members, consulting with the talent that lives here before spending on more contracts and consultants who are going to be explaining information that we already know. I really think that it's important that before we hire, that we really take a close look at hiring decisions for employees, and that's a larger decision that can be made with direction that can be given to our staff, and being cautious with our reserves. We were able to get through the pandemic because we had a conservative approach with the reserves, and I would definitely support that approach moving forward so that we're prepared for any emergency that may come our way.
Thank you. Kristen Sneddon, District 4 incumbent. Same question.
Yes, thank you. So I'm a firm believer that what is good for District 4 is good for the city. And while District 4 has some very specific needs, I think that protecting against wildland fire is good for the whole city. When we have the Thomas fire, then that really hurt our tax base and our health and our air quality. Protecting our water resources, particularly of interest to District 4, is also good for the whole city. When we look at economic development, it's much more than just State Street. There's Coast Village Road, which is in District 4, but I'm very much for integrated, holistic plans that look at an economic development plan, not just for State Street, but for areas that include District 4 or District 5 and Upper State Street or Milpas corridor area. We really need to be looking out for our districts, but also looking at the whole city and how to integrate and look out for everyone. Some of the environmental things that I've worked on are particularly important: community choice energy, sea level rise adaptation plan. These affect the whole city, and then I'm also looking particularly at what I can do for my district especially.
Thank you. The next question: what is the most important thing that needs to be done in your specific district? How do you propose to deal with it, and how do you propose to pay for it? And we will start this question with Meagan Harmon of District 6.
I think the future of State Street cannot be understated in terms of the importance to District 6 and truly to the city as a whole. We are in a moment when there is so much transformative potential. There is an energy downtown that has not been there since, frankly, since I was a kid. We moved quickly to create the State Street Promenade, an idea that had been discussed and debated and talked about in City Hall for decades. We made it happen. Now it's time to harness that energy and create something permanent, something thriving for downtown residents and families and the entire city. So I am really proud of the process that we set up to bring together experts in the city to create a master plan for our downtown. That is ongoing. In fact, I just came from that meeting before this debate. And we will be looking at all aspects of planning in connection with State Street and what we want the future to be for our downtown core. Funding, of course, is key. It's a central part of the equation, and we'll be looking to leverage all different types of funding streams and opportunities to really work with our private businesses to create public-private partnerships so that our whole city, businesses, the city's infrastructure, residents, we all have a hand in creating the future of State Street and really building something for the next generation together.
Thank you. Jason Carlton, next, the same question.
I'm looking at the downtown promenade as being probably one of the best things that's ever happened to Santa Barbara. It's been something that's been talked about as long as I've been here, over 20 years. It's something that I think it needs a little bit of work on to make it a little bit more professional. I think that we also need to focus on cleaning up the homeless issues downtown. And again, it's a small portion of the homeless that create a lot of the perception. And that perception is negatively affecting those small businesses. And this becomes like a self-feeding machine. If we clean up those issues and they become less prevalent, then more people come downtown, more families come downtown. I have a 15-year-old with my partner, and I won't let him go downtown right now in fear of him getting accosted downtown by somebody who has a drug issue or a mental issue, or maybe a safety issue with needles. So when he's going downtown, he's going down in groups. And it used to not be that way. I would feel totally comfortable with my child walking downtown, getting an ice cream or getting lunch and coming home. And it's something that we really need to address. And I think the best way to address this is that City Council needs to go out and talk to the community members, the small business owners, and get them all active, all active together to make this change. Because if we all work together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you. Nina Johnson.
I had a large role in pre-pandemic in demonstrating the State Street Promenade and getting past many years of talking about what if we were to close State Street, doing a test project, working with local artists and business owners and putting together a demonstration to help people move the dialogue forward. And that laid the groundwork so that when the pandemic started, we were ready to go with lessons learned and ready to put it into place quickly. It's the opportunity of our generation, and I see it as the largest opportunity. I travel all over the world and spend a lot of time studying urban design. I'm an urban planning major at UCLA, and this is my field. And I see so many things that can be done in bringing together our design community so that we have innovative designs and leadership, environmental leadership. We have public art on our street that is reflective of the creative community that lives here. We don't see enough creative expression. This is the next iteration of our design. Santa Barbara is known for our architecture and our natural beauty, but now this is our opportunity to show how we are known for good design and innovation, and we are able to merge those in to the next generation, next iteration of State Street, and show other cities how we have a promenade so that we are not following other leads, but people come to us to learn examples.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, same question.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the first question because I think I missed the opportunity of, I wanted to say about the budget for the entire city, that Santa Barbara, altogether one cohesive city, one unit. We all depend on each other. What's good for one district is good for the next. Fire prevention, obviously, which has been a threat in the last decade. Being a representative of the downtown district is the face of Santa Barbara. It's where the workforce lives. It's the backbone of the economic system because it brings in all the tourist money. So that would be my first and foremost priority. The second question regarding State Street, leading into it, is that the promenade is obviously the most important and prominent thing happening right now. I think it needs to be honed in. There's issues with the bicycle lanes. Bikes speeding up and down right in the center is kind of a safety hazard.
Since they've all
I've lived downtown for...
Why don't we just leave this one out?
Over 20 years. Sorry? Over 20 years I've lived downtown, and when I used to manage a record store down on the 600 block of State Street, and I would walk there every day, and there was steam cleaners and people cleaning up the downtown and making it beautiful every morning for the tourists. I jog down there every day now, and I rarely see people cleaning up. I see the trash from the night before. I see garbage everywhere. A lot of more issues than there were about 15 years ago. My worry is that I don't want to see the new State Street turn into an amusement park.
Time. Thank you. Kristen Sneddon, District 4.
Thank you. Might I ask you to repeat the question? Is it
Certainly.
about State Street or downtown? Yeah.
No, certainly. I can repeat the question, and your time will not start until you begin to speak. What is the most important thing that needs to be done in your specific district, and how do you propose to deal with it and pay for it?
Oh, thank you. In my specific district, some of the most important issues are fire safety. So the Community Wildfire Protection Plan was a major work effort for the whole city, but is paid for through grant funding. Measure C money can be used for infrastructure, for safety as well. So public safety monies, I'm very grateful for Measure C. I campaigned for Measure C in the last election cycle. And that will also go towards public safety with our police departments as well. Our water infrastructure, we have now made a water deal with Montecito that benefits the city in terms of incoming funds to help us to pump that water up to our water treatment facilities so that we have better blended water for the whole city. And then really the downtown is part of the economic base, but Coast Village Road is a big part of District 4. It's a big tax base for the city. I was very instrumental in supporting and asking for funds through City Council, which we all supported in a business improvement district, and that helps businesses help themselves and is a self-feeding fund that helps the whole city. So I would say in District 4, also infrastructure, water mains, and that's all. Measure C is a very big part of taking care of District 4.
Thank you. Barrett Reed, District 4, same question.
I think neighborhood preservation is at the top of the list for District 4. And you know, the overarching idea is that instead of compromising the very special and historic single-family neighborhoods that we have in District 4, let's address our housing and affordability challenges in our downtown. Bring workers, shoppers, residents back to the heart of our city around the clock. SB 9 and 10, some of the state laws now threatening single-family neighborhoods around the state is a real threat. LA has voted to oppose SB 9 and 10. Why not Santa Barbara? There's now a referendum planned for next year, spurred by the mayor of Redondo Beach and also backed by city council members around the state. If it qualifies for the ballot, we could overturn SB 9 and 10. Let's better align ourselves as a city, not just as an individual council member, with local governments around the state to really prevail in overturning this threat. Also part of neighborhood preservation and protection is our public safety. Due to the lack of support for our police from council, today we're operating with a 21% reduction to our police force. And this is a particular threat to District 4 with higher property values. It is a target for property-related crime.
Thank you. All right, next question. This will begin with Jason Carlton. The question is, what do you see as the proper relationship between the mayor and the city council? Jason?
I think the mayor should be basically the ship captain and help direct the council meetings with the input of city council. I think the city council members represent each one of the districts, and they need to come to the table with whatever their priorities are, and the mayor should be able to look through those priorities and start prioritizing them from number 1 to number 10 or 100, whatever it is. And we need to work together and start checking these issues off. Because right now I feel like we just kind of kick the can down the street and there's a lack of direction and leadership with the city council right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nina Johnson, same question.
Thank you. I've had the opportunity to work with several mayors over the course of my time at City Hall, starting with Harriet Miller, then Marty Bloom, Helene Schneider, and now Kathy Murillo. And I've seen different styles of leadership. And I really think that the mayor's role is, setting the agenda for council and being bold and helping to resolve any issues among the council members, helping them work as a team together, helping all of them in their strengths be assets on the council so that they each can play a role and accomplish a lot for that entire team. So it's not a collection of individuals, but truly a team effort that's coming together. The mayor has a key role in communicating a vision with the public. There are many speaking moments and opportunities each and every day to send messages to the public about what's important and what the challenges are of the moment, where our opportunities are. So focusing clearly on those challenges and opportunities and helping the community understand where we're at and where we need their help. But I think with the city council, it's helping everyone function well as a team, and wherever those shortcomings or the assets, the strengths may be, really working with those and helping the council as a team reach decisions each Tuesday.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, same question.
Well, I agree with the others that the mayor as a team leader should help with the cohesiveness of decision-making and pushing policy. I also think the mayor should take cues from the city council members when they have good ideas and insights to help with the whole city's agenda. The mayor is the spokesperson for the city, and more of the ceremonial duties should be left to the mayor to handle.
Okay, thank you. Kristen Sneddon, same question.
Thank you. I think some of the main functions of the mayor is really being the face of public outreach, of messaging, of helping the city feel secure and like they're in good hands. Examples of what we've experienced in the past 4 years have been Thomas Fire, debris flow, COVID. I do believe it is the mayor's role to be that voice of comfort and information outwardly facing. And also to help build consensus, to know before a meeting, heading into it, what different council members' perspectives are, what they might be hoping for, and how to really honor each of those perspectives and bring it together and to coalesce the message into something that honors the message for everyone. I do believe that the mayor's role is to make the public feel heard and to make each council member feel heard, to really coalesce that message, and then to direct the city administration in following through on what those messages are. I also believe it is the mayor's role to allow ideas that are coming forward to take fruition and to take flight, and to not halt anything in the meantime too. And I think it is the mayor who has the power to make the agenda and can be really exercising that ability to move things forward that would benefit the whole city.
Thank you. Let's see. Barrett Reed, same question, please.
I think first and foremost, the mayor begins to set the tone for our city, and the council follows. But the council is also responsible for setting the tone for our city. And currently we have a problem. Over the last few years, we have extreme turnover in our community development department, transportation, finance, public works, assistant city administrator, fire, police. I mean, we have an executive employee who is now running for council in this forum. The tone that is being set by council and the mayor is not attracting the people that we need to improve the situation in our city. And this divisiveness is just pushing away our city staff, leading to more turnover, and our city employees are fleeing. So I think the most important job ahead of us in the months, the year ahead, is the hiring of our new city administrator. And we have to find one with a track record of success, and one that will work well with staff and council and be assertive. But we also need a council and a mayor that will work well with the city administrator and hold one another accountable.
Thank you. Meagan Harmon, District 6. Same question.
Thank you. Yes, well, a lot has already been said on this, but I'll just say I really agree with the metaphor that Mr. Carlton used, which is a mayor is the ship's captain. I think that's exactly right. The mayor's role is to set the direction, to set the agenda, and as I think it was Councilmember Sneddon said, to really be front and center with the community in terms of engagement, in terms of the dissemination of information, and that we have seen is incredibly critical, particularly during a lot of these really sensitive moments, whether it's the Thomas Fire or COVID-19, having that person that we can all look to as a trusted source of information is really central to the role of the mayorship. I would also just add, City Council is a forum for ideas. It's a forum for debate. It's a forum for discussion. The hallmark of success is not unanimity. The hallmark of success is not everyone falling in line and making the same decision. The hallmark of success is robust dialogue, robust debate. That's how our neighbors know we're getting to the best decision for them and for the whole city. I think it's all to the good that we have strong and spirited conversation and that our city residents participate in that conversation. That's how we make the best policy, not by coming in and insisting that everyone have the same answer to start. So I'm really proud of the strong conversations and debates that we've had. I think that proves how committed we all are and how committed we are to getting good policy for our neighbors.
Next question. What is the best way to provide housing for all segments of the community, including the currently homeless? And what should be the city's role? We'll start this with Nina Johnson as our first speaker. Nina.
Thank you very much. To increase, I think for all segments of our community, we need to focus on increasing the supply overall for a wide range of housing units, which means we need to be incentivizing all of our property owners with policies and a fee structure, fewer delays, whatever we can do to minimize risk and give them the incentive to build and choose housing over other uses, whatever it might be, hotel, or even leaving property vacant. We need to help them see it as an attractive investment to build housing of all types in different parts of our community, whether it's downtown where we can get more of a daily pulse and activity, or in other commercial areas throughout the city. We need to be very proactive in giving them the tools that they need and removing the risks wherever possible. And that includes our planning and permitting process, which is a risk that many are not willing to take to see whether an overall project will pencil out. And I know that many in the community may feel that there is a stumbling block there, that people do not want to develop the housing. But really, we have to make sure that we incentivize and we make sure that project can pencil out. And there are many ways, many costs and factors to ensure that that is done. I also want to say that I really want to see the ADU process streamlined. I think that has the biggest impact for affordable housing in our community, the most potential for units.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, the same question.
Well, yeah, it's the issue that's on everybody's mind right now. I neglected to mention at first that for the last year I've worked as a soils technician for a company in Goleta, and we do the preliminary geotechnical reports for anyone that wants to build in the area. And from what I've seen is this town is heading toward being overbuilt, and I worry about this because once you take away the beauty of this town, there won't be much left to want to bring people here. I think the downtown area needs to be left alone. You know, no more tall buildings, no more overbuilding. As far as providing housing, maybe we could eliminate Airbnbs in the area. I know it's not something anybody wants to hear, but it's competing a lot for residential rentals. There's also other models to look at, like there's one thing I've noticed in Ventura. There's the arts housing down on Thompson, I believe it is, where it's really great. I've got some friends that live there, and they've just made great use of the space. So I think practicality is the term I want to use, and look at some of the empty buildings we have downtown and convert what we already have into housing for the people that live here. And that will create a more healthy economy downtown.
Thank you. Kristen Sneddon, the same question, please.
Thank you. We need housing that meets the needs of all income levels. We need affordable housing for workers or first responders or healthcare workers. And we have tried multiple incentives, and it keeps producing luxury housing. I believe before we add any more incentives for developers, we should and must fill those vacuous abandoned spaces of Nordstrom's, Macy's, Sears. We need to negotiate hard to have those be housing and not be used for other purposes that will actually end up requiring that we need more housing for those who are coming into the area to fill jobs there. We just voted on the Carrillo Castillo commuter lot housing with the Housing Authority. I believe the Housing Authority is the answer and is the way. We need to lobby hard to re-establish the redevelopment agency for funding from that. You know, Governor 4 years ago told me, we are going to get you your redevelopment agencies back, and I want to hold him to it. We need that money back to produce that housing. You asked about homeless strategies also. Homeless housing needs bridge housing. We have this very successful model starting where we're going from the hotel model, but that's not sustainable, but it'll move to bridge housing. And Dignity Moves is a great model that we're working with the county on starting for something more sustainable. And then from that bridge housing, transitional housing into that lower income housing. And really the Housing Authority is the way. I don't want to keep incentivizing luxury market rate housing.
Thank you. Let's see. Jason Carlton, same question, please.
Yes, this is a great question and a very large problem. I think for the homeless, we looked at some plans where we have to identify properties that we can use or buy for the city. And there is a group that does small houses that they're made out of concrete. It's about $1,000 in material. I don't know how much a 3D printer costs, but we could create small communities that these people we could move homeless people to, where we could have central bathrooms, showers. And so that would be a solution for the homeless. And then as far as for high density, I don't want to see high density housing up on the Mesa or Riviera or San Roque area. I think downtown, I mean, again, I agree with Kristen on this, using some of these large buildings we have, converting them into large scale housing, housing apartments, and hopefully not luxury. I'd like to see maybe one of them be a retirement community. So people that are retired, where they're not living on the outskirts of town and being shuttled in, they could come downtown from their apartment and go to coffee or, you know, have lunch. I'd also like to see, if we're going to be doing these projects, that we increase the capacity of the parking lots we have downtown. We have a lot of single-story parking lots, and I think we need to start looking at creating 2- or 3-story parking lots, not only for the people that live and work downtown, but even maybe for the residents in the area. Because again, like Zachary said, I have to move my car every Wednesday and Thursday and play the shuffle, and every once in a while I get a ticket. So that's where I'm at with that. Thank you.
Okay.
I looked through some of the past newsletters for the League of Women Voters, and one of the goals stated that, like we're talking about now, vacant properties and buildings should be prioritized for residential use where appropriate. And I could not agree more. The problem is, for too long, our council has talked about adaptive reuse, but has taken no action. We need an ordinance for it. And it's time to take action, or this necessity will not be realized. So this inaction is why we are not seeing housing and revitalization in some of our largest vacant spaces: Macy's, Nordstrom, Sears, La Cumbre Plaza. Recently on Planning Commission, we had to review and approve a conversion of a single office space into a single residential unit. This just shouldn't be happening. If action had been taken in these last 4 years on an adaptive reuse ordinance, this would have been a quick approval and the unit would have been built and occupied. The league also states that community benefit project designations and other incentives to allow taller buildings should require more affordability. Again, couldn't agree more. So why are we approving increased heights on housing projects without more affordable rental units? City Council hasn't acted to change the findings. I will take action to incentivize rental housing where it's most beneficial to our city while preserving what we love most, Santa Barbara's small town feel and timeless character.
Okay, Meagan, please, go ahead.
Housing policy is one of the most multifaceted, complex areas of municipal policymaking. It also happens to be an area that I love working in, and I think we've done a lot of really positive things to set the stage for the kind of development that we need to see in the city of Santa Barbara, i.e. units that truly serve working people in our city. The AUD program is a perfect example. We've been working on balancing the incentives so that we can ensure when we give something, what we get in return is truly reflective of the needs of the residents of our city. I'm really proud to have supported the inclusionary component of our AUD program and indeed to have pushed for more. It's not enough to say 10%. We have to push harder. If we're going to be giving incentives, we've got to make sure that what we get on the other end is really what our neighbors need and what they deserve. I also want to highlight, as my colleague did briefly, the Carrillo Castillo commuter lot project. It is incredibly difficult to get the funding and financing in place to get housing for our city's workforce. Our housing authority was truly creative and frankly visionary in putting together a program that can get us that workforce housing. In the future, I would like to see the city play a more active role in creating that kind of housing, particularly by setting up an equity investment fund so that we can have real skin in the game. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question, and hopefully I will not goof up my order of people here. Okay, this next question we will be beginning with Zachary Pike, and the question is, how can the city best prepare for the increasing fires, floods, and droughts? Zachary, you're up.
Fires, floods, and droughts. I think water security is one of the most important things we need to focus on. Figuring out how to secure our interest in the state water project. We absolutely need to support whatever emergency resources we have. The fire department. Probably, I would suggest we could do a little more of clearing the fire gaps up in the mountains. That could probably use a little work to be more preventative measures. Sorry, I'm blanking on the second half of the question. Yeah, that's about what I have to say on that. Thank you.
Kristen?
Okay, so I'll talk quickly because these are major issues to me, all three of them, and are some of my top issues, and especially for District 4. For fire, nearly the entire district is in the high fire or extreme high fire area. I also live in high fire district. It's always been a priority. The Community Wildfire Protection Plan and the funds to implement the plan are moves and motions that I have supported. And it's also part of being a larger collaborative with moving forward with networks with Carpinteria, Goleta, Montecito, and having a regional dispatch for our regional safety. And next, we're hopefully moving forward with our own contracts for emergency response for ambulances, and that funding can then go towards mental health issues or homeless issues as well. On floods, I instigated and pressed very hard for a grading ordinance for the Hillside District, District 4, over 14% slopes that we had a lot of when ADUs were being built really fast. Not a lot of people being careful about the grading issues, which creates the potential for debris flow into the roads. And we did have some roads where that was happening. And I pressed hard to have a new grading ordinance for that to protect the hillsides. And then drought, we have a diversified water portfolio. I'm on the Water Commission, the Kachuma Conservation Release Board, the Kachuma Operations and Maintenance Board to protect our water security. Thank you.
Thank you. Barrett Reed, next for the same question.
Thank you. So in terms of fire and environmental leadership, in this regard, there wasn't much leadership leading up to the Loma fire, our most recent, very frightening event. And fire mitigation is such a real issue in District 4. It just simply wasn't a true priority leading up to that event in District 4 neighborhoods. I will persistently pursue incentives and rebates through grants for homeowners to harden their homes, maintain defensible space, basics, plant fire-wise landscaping. In my neighborhood, Eucalyptus Hill, because of a lack of responsiveness over the years, we've had to take it upon ourselves to address fire mitigation through our own private fundraising. And this just shouldn't be the case. I'll be responsive and action-oriented in prioritizing funding for neighborhood groups and individuals. And in terms of water, huge issue. We have to reduce our costs for all sources of water. Our desal, our groundwater, our reservoirs, recycled water, state water. And right now we have an inability to lease water outside the county to retain our supply but recoup our costs. That has to change.
Time, thank you. Meagan Harmon, same question, please.
Thank you. These potential crises that you name are the perhaps biggest issues of our time, not only for us currently as residents of the city of Santa Barbara today, but also for our children, for my children. What is going to be here for them when they grow up? I'm really proud of the work that we've done on the city council to put environmental stewardship front and center. We have really made priorities to move to renewable energy. We have diversified our water portfolio. We've begun to take tangible steps to deal with sea level rise. And particularly as a newly appointed member of the California Coastal Commission, a lot of the work that I'm doing on that body is related to resiliency planning and adaptation. How do we transition communities that are at risk? Communities like ours that are truly at the forefront of what sea level rise will mean for the future. How do we transition them safely? How do we transition them equitably? How do we transition them in a way that best serves these communities? That is a big part of the work that I'm doing on the California Coastal Commission, and I'm proud to bring our Santa Barbara values to that body, where environmentalism and our commitment to the coast, to preserving it and protecting it, are fundamental.
Thank you. Jason Carlton, same question, please.
Well, as we all know, fires and water are probably the two #1 issues we have in Santa Barbara regarding our natural resources and damage to it. I think that we need to work with the city of Goleta and Carpinteria to create defensive lines. We also need to work with the county of Santa Barbara to create defensive lines, and then see if we can also work with the federal government, because if we can protect our areas and our forests from having these fires, we can also protect them from having the floods afterwards, because that's the trend is usually fire than floods. I'd also, as far as water, we probably need to look at some way of capturing a lot of the water we lose during the rain, during our storms. So storms come in hot and heavy, and we lose, I don't know how many gallons of water to the ocean. So if we could recapture that, that could be another resource we could use for landscaping or other sources. As far as the desal station goes, I think it costs a lot of money to run it. So we probably need to start looking at solar projects to help, pay for cutting down the cost on electricity to use it. And yeah, that's all I got for that. Thank you.
Okay. Nina Johnson, same question.
Yes, thank you. In my time here, I have experienced a number of fires and had a lead staff role in helping the community deal with emergency and crisis response. And I understand the issues involved and looking at ways that we can get ahead and mitigate our risk beyond some of the longer term strategies related to climate. For fire, having clear strategies and making sure we're making the investments to reduce the amount of fuel, looking at maybe the burn scar areas, the last areas burned, and wherever we have more fuel, making sure that we have our fire station, our fire facilities. We're expediting our projects for joint fire coordination and response because I think our fire staff have been moving forward on these projects, and we need to make sure that happens. And in terms of droughts and water supply, I think we've done such a good job actually in looking ahead and planning for our water supply over the years because we've experienced this on an ongoing basis in a drought. But we need to continue working with the community on all of our water conservation needs, helping larger, older homes that are not water conserving. They don't have the water conserving appliances and plumbing, rebates, lawns, helping to reduce the amount of water that we're using so that we can conserve water for future use.
Thank you. All right. Next question, we begin with Kristen Sneddon, and the question is, what would you propose to make Santa Barbara an even safer city? Kristen?
This is a really great question, and I want to first acknowledge that we have had rising crime, we have had rising homeless issues that have made people feel unsafe, and we had increased fires in encampments. And I think in public safety with both fire and police, we need more patrolling. We need more officers to be available to patrol, particularly in the hillsides and the remote areas. They often get sort of overlooked because downtown has such a high need that often Eucalyptus Hill, the Riviera doesn't get patrolled at all unless there's a problem. So upping patrols there, I think we're doing a lot to increase our fire safety with the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. But as Mr. Reed mentioned, we have identified many vegetation management units that we simply are not funding fast enough. I did make motions at our council budget meetings to accelerate that process and to step that up. Council didn't approve that, and I would very much like to increase the funding to the vegetation management units, would increase the safety for the whole city. We did clear encampments and find housing for those areas that were in high fire, but we have more to do. There are a lot of housing homeless encampments up in the creeks that are really unsafe in fire season. So those would be some of the ways to look at better safety.
Same question, please.
Excuse me, is that to me?
Barrett, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I touched on this a little bit when I spoke in neighborhood preservation. The shocking statistic is that our police is down 21% in our sworn officers. It's a shocking statistic. So what that means is our police is forced now to reduce what calls for service they respond to. It means fewer essential neighborhood patrols. It means longer response times. I'm endorsed and supported by police, and I will support and enhance our public safety. It's a fundamental function of our city council to deliver on the basics of public safety, and right now that's under threat. In our District 4 neighborhood specifically, we have to prioritize these patrols for emergency response and crime in the district. On weekends especially, there's this concentration of needs in the downtown area, understandably, and this often comes at the expense of the outlying neighborhoods like ours in District 4. So this is a real focus.
Meagan Harmon. Yeah, District 6.
Thank you. Yeah, look, I would encourage us to really have a more expansive definition of safety. Having a place to lay your head at night, having a home, that is safety. Having a job that you can support your family with, that is safety. Having enough food to put on your table to feed your family, that's safety too. And I think that it's important that we understand that all of these things that we talk about on the Santa Barbara City Council is about prioritizing safety of community members. That's why we do what we do, whether we're talking about housing or whether we're talking about traditional policing. Now, I am very, very excited about the work that we have done to try to take some of the burden off of our police force. We have asked them to do so much over the years. One of the ways that we have done that is to prioritize mental health workers so that when folks are going through mental health crises, they get the help they need instead of being criminalized. That's not meant to take anything away from the amazing work that our police force does, but rather to actually seek to solve the problem in service of greater health for everyone. So I would really just encourage us to think about safety in a new way and to really think about how we can create the best environment for everyone in the city of Santa Barbara to lead healthy, productive, full lives.
Thank you. Nina Johnson, same question.
Yes. What comes to mind for me is really the perception of safety, and I'm someone who walks around a lot day and night, and I guess I have a high tolerance for some situations, and I don't often feel unsafe, but I talk to many people who do feel unsafe in different situations, and especially at night where we have areas that are not well lit. And then also walking in our commercial areas. I think when we have people that have mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and they're sitting around and people feel we're not creating the welcoming, inviting environment that we want to. And it means that we're turning people away and they're not visiting our shops and our restaurants as often as we want them to. We want them to feel safe. So I really want to support it and how we address homelessness in a compassionate way. And we have a bevy of different tools and social services and making sure they're all well coordinated and able to assist. But we also have to enforce sit and lie ordinances so that people are not sitting and lying in sidewalks. I know that in the Milpas Area Council just voted to enforce a sit and lie ordinance, create that ordinance so people were not sitting and lying in the sidewalks. And I know that the other downtown council member voted against that.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, the same question, please.
You know, I agree with everything Mrs. Harmon said about defining safety and creating opportunity. I think Santa Barbara should be a job creator and give people things to do. You know, the old saying about idle hands being the devil's workshop and all really means something. The sit and lie ordinance, it sounds like a good idea, but without giving someone a place to be, you're just shuffling them around. So that's not really, I don't think that's really being a solution to the problem. I think the city could channel some of its funding into these programs that are already working. Like I was just reading about Andrew V. I'll call him Andrew V. because I'm sure I'll pronounce the last name wrong, but he has this Earth Comb program where he's actually rolling his sleeves up and getting it done. He's cleaning up the mess and cleaning up these homeless camps and actually creating work and hiring people to help him. I think the city should channel funds into that and be a job creator and give people opportunities to create safety. As far as the police presence, I know from my time working in retail that eye contact and presence is everything. So I think that the local police force should be more on foot and on bikes and have a broader beat policing system where they get to know the people downtown, get to know people by face, by name, and then create a more healthy, safe, and mindful environment. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you. Jason, please come in.
A lot of the safety issues people perceive is a lot of the mental illness and addiction issues we have downtown. And I think that if we start managing these, a lot of that will disappear. I think that we need to look back, if we look back to like the late 1990s, early 2000s, we had the police host program, which if we're having an issue budgetary for police in town, this was an affordable option to it. And it was 4 gentlemen that walked up and down State Street, and they basically helped with the homeless issue with what we call unwanted kindness. And I think that if that program was so successful, it was successful during that time and it got voted away for whatever reason, but we could move that to Castillo and over to our other thoroughfare, Milpas, and that would actually help out increase the people feeling safe downtown again, if we can't afford to have the police down there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we are ready for the next question. And it is, what do you propose to improve local commerce and the local economy? Is there anything in particular that you would propose for your specific district? And for this, we'll start with Barrett Reed. And hopefully I won't skip anyone along the way. I do apologize. I'm used to having people sitting here that I can actually see. It's a whole different setup, but I do apologize. Barrett, please.
You do not need to apologize. You're doing a wonderful job. Downtown and State Street, again, is such a significant revenue generator. It can't go unaddressed. For more than a decade, my work has been to revitalize old, struggling buildings downtown. Downtown revitalization and sustainable adaptive reuse is part of my day-to-day work. The components of this revitalization, from my perspective, we need to reestablish a clean and a safe downtown. And I think a property-based improvement district is a big part of that. It's something similar to what Coast Village Road is doing. The president of Coast Village Road has endorsed me, and we work hand in hand to implement this. And what it is opportunities for businesses and property owners and stakeholders to assume more control over the simple daily maintenance and management of our downtown. Under the city's purview, our downtown, it's just not clean or safe. So I'm leading this collaborative effort. Bringing housing downtown is a key. We just need that life and vibrancy 24 hours a day. Another major component to revenue reductions in the context of our city commerce.
Thank you. Meagan Harmon, same question, please.
Thank you. I'll start with my agreement. I agree with a lot of what we just heard from Mr. Reed, that the revitalization of our downtown core truly is the economic engine of our city. So there's virtually nothing more important to our economic situation that we invest in a sustainable way, revitalizing that downtown core. I also strongly support the idea of a downtown business property improvement district. I think the only way that we can ensure success of our downtown core is to really facilitate public-private partnership in that area so that everyone has a stake in its success. I would also say, though, that I think it's vitally important, and we've seen this certainly over the last couple of years with the crises that we've faced as a community, that we seek to diversify our economy. It's incredibly important that we look to other industries. What can fit here in Santa Barbara? What is quintessentially Santa Barbara? What opportunities can we have for local workers? I was very excited about the work that we've done to put together a sustainable commercial fishing industry in the city of Santa Barbara. This is something that they brought to us that we as a city have supported. We have a working harbor. There's so much potential there. And I think that's really the kind of creative out of the box thinking that we need to prioritize when it comes to our city's economic development. Of course, our downtown core is key, but what else can we bring to the table to make sure that there's opportunity and access for all?
Thank you. Jason Carlton, same question, please.
Well, number one is if we clean up downtown, it needs to be safe again. That'll bring back business to downtown with tourism and people in the neighborhoods coming back to visit it. I think we need to start looking at creating a more permanent promenade, maybe make it a more European feel is what a lot of people are talking about. Bring the restaurants back on the sidewalks, maybe allow retail to come out a little bit. I think we need to start looking at diversifying what the empty buildings are downtown, because between Amazon and COVID, they kind of have crushed retail. And I think we need to rethink what type of businesses go into those commercial buildings, and then maybe even how to expand some of those commercial buildings to create affordable housing downtown. Thank you.
Nina Johnson, please.
I would look at it in terms of how we can create an ecosystem that helps businesses not only thrive or not only survive, they've been in that mode, but really thrive. And the city looking at our planning and permitting process and continuing on, and really we got to make some progress in changing our reputation and becoming more business friendly. We need to make that happen and make that real. And that will send a strong signal to local entrepreneurs to get started in spaces, and also anyone else who is interested in coming to Santa Barbara to invest and start a business here. That's a really important step, but it takes many different stakeholders to create that ecosystem, from women's economic ventures, property owners working with us and helping to create opportunities in vacant spaces to help entrepreneurs get started, business owners looking at even how they're merchandising and putting items in their windows. So many different strategies, but it's the partnerships of many and creating the ecosystem, and the city taking a leadership role in creating that. And I wanted to quickly address the property business improvement district and public-private partnerships, because I'm a strong supporter of those, and I think that that's the path forward. But we're not going to get those in place, and we're not going to get people to want to put those together until people have a high degree of trust in one another and trust in the city and knowing what to expect. So a property improvement district, that's
Time.
Those people coming together to agree. Thank you.
Okay. Zachary Pike, same question, please.
Well, the attraction to Santa Barbara, I'd say the jewel in the crown is the views of the mountains, the views of the beach. We definitely to focus on keeping them clean. The last couple years, Fiesta was missed sorely because it's a big draw to Santa Barbara, a big part of its character. The local arts community, the local music community. I survived as an entertainer in music for about 20 years, doing weddings, gigs. I toured for a long time, so music is close to my heart and important to me. And I think there's so much talent in Santa Barbara that goes untapped. There's so much talent here that we could use to draw people in. I think a street program of music, much like the street scene in San Diego, or mini festivals. I mean, if we're gonna have a pedestrian walkway, we have the space to put stages and again, job creation, paying people who are artists to actually make a living with their craft. The beach shell at Pershing Park has gone entirely unused for years. You know, it's what a missed resource to have a stage, to have a local talent play on. I think people will come from far and wide, much like they do in MacArthur Park down in Los Angeles, or the Levitt Pavilion. Every weekend they have shows in the summertime. In Brooklyn, they have the Prospect Park show that is free for the community. You know, it draws people in, people that will buy food, people that will spend time in the shops downtown. And those shops, speaking of, Santa Barbara really needs to do whatever it can to help the business owners. Like Jason Carlton said, they've just taken a hit over the last time. Thank you.
Okay. Kristen Sneddon, same question, please.
Yeah, thank you. To start with, I'll agree in part with Mr. Pike as well, that we must honor our historic character, our architecture, really celebrate our mountain views, our ocean views. The combination of these is what makes Santa Barbara so special. I was very supportive and pressing for an economic development position to really focus on not just State Street, but the whole city. And the question was about in our districts. And I will say on Coast Village Road, again, instrumental in the Business Improvement District bid. And the past president of the Coast Village Association is also a supporter of mine as well. And Coast Village is an example of a thriving, vibrant, livable area. There's a lot of livable space there. The condominiums back there, apartment buildings, I think people don't always realize that about Coast Village Road. For State Street, we really need to address the vacant storefronts that are merely being held open for hope of higher profit. We just cannot have that blight go on. We are working on a downtown master plan. That's something from day one at the beginning of my last term. I started and instigated, and I really do also need to credit Ms. Johnson and other staff who worked very hard for experiment weekends on State Street and bringing the arts, and we need to celebrate the arts and our beautiful architecture. And then also with the blue economy, the sustainable fishing industry was already here. We gave them space to celebrate.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next question, we will start with Meagan Harmon. And the question is, what investments in city infrastructure do you favor? Meagan?
Thanks. Infrastructure is the core function of municipal government. Thanks in very large part to the Measure C money, we actually have the funds to really make that investment and to make it in a way that residents can truly see and that raise the quality of life for everyone. Certainly, roads. That is probably the most bread and butter issue that I hear about at the doors when I go to speak to voters. Improving the quality of our roads. We have made great progress in doing that thanks to Measure C, and we need to continue at it. Also, our water infrastructure, how we get water to residents, our desal plant, making sure that our water and waste treatment plants are always of the highest caliber. You know, we are a full service city in the city of Santa Barbara. That's something that all of us can be very proud of, but that requires infrastructure investment. And again, we couldn't do it without Measure C. That's been a huge help for us so that we can continue to keep this infrastructure that makes us so special, really top of the line to serve residents and to make sure that they get the services they deserve and have come to expect.
Thank you. Jason Carlton, the same question.
Infrastructure is a big thing in Santa Barbara, and I think we need to start doing it right. On my street, they replaced the asphalt probably about 2 years ago, did a great job, replaced the curbs. And then this year they decided to chip up the curbs and chip up the asphalt to put water lines in. So I think if we're gonna be doing infrastructure projects, we need to do them correctly. Open up the road, replace the infrastructure like the sewer, water, storm drains, and plan for the future, because as our population is growing, we need to make sure that these systems are large enough to sustain that. And we especially need to change the infrastructure downtown Santa Barbara, because I think 3 years ago we had 4 or 5 transformers blow up. We have the wastewater backing up in restaurants on a regular basis, and that infrastructure hasn't been replaced since it was put in probably like 60 or 70 years ago. So infrastructure's idea is key, but let's do it right. If we're going to replace the road, if the infrastructure underneath needs to be replaced, let's do that at the same time instead of doing the road and then coming back and Frankensteining it later. Thank you.
Nina, same question.
Thank you. I was very proud to work on our efforts to bring Measure C to fruition and to work with the community in helping to educate everyone about our needs for street repair and all of those needs throughout the city in different types of streets. And that remains a top priority for the city. And now we have a stable source of funding that we can each year make sure that we are upgrading those roads and repaving those roads section by section, and we have that funding source in perpetuity. Also, our public safety facilities, our police station, I mentioned our fire stations. We need to upgrade those because those are also dated facilities, and we need to make sure we're providing facilities for our first responders that are modern and functional and provide enough space to operate. And I'd also want to say that we need to make sure that our park facilities and many of our older community buildings have modern amenities, and they were built many years ago, and we have a funding source in place is the good news to take care of these facilities as we go forward. But those are priorities to make sure that our residents here have facilities that match our high quality of life, and that we are investing in those facilities to make sure that there's a foundation for them in everyday life, that they are coming and encountering those buildings. So very important for us, and we have that dedicated funding source.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, same question, please.
Well, infrastructure is, of course, like one of the biggest ongoing projects city will have. It's going to take a lot of work. I mean, the drought shifted all the ground around, so the water pipes will break. I think it's just kind of a fix it as you go thing. Jason Carlton hit it on the head when he sorry, hit the space bar. If we've got the road dug up, then we ought to fix all the utilities at once, get in there and do it right the first time. I'd also I would like to add some things to the municipal utilities list, like maybe try some progressive ideas, such as adding a Wi-Fi internet in the downtown area as a municipal function. Try some out of the box thinking, some new things, you know, for the people and the residents of downtown.
Kristen Sneddon, you are next with the same question, please.
Thank you. So for infrastructure, I supported and campaigned for and voted for Measure C. It was a big part of my campaign the last time. One of the big uses of our infrastructure funding is the police station. It's outdated, unsafe, it's not fit for women, actually. And voters wanted a new station, and that's the bulk of what they voted for. But we also can be spending those funds on updating our fire trucks. The ladders need updating. We need to support our firefighters in that. For the water mains, we have doubled the replacement rate. For the sewage lines, we just can't keep up on the hillsides because it's a different issue there with overdevelopment. We've invested in our own paving team, which is a really great investment, which now allows us to coordinate exactly what you're talking about. We heard from residents, we listened, we've changed it to really time the road paving with the water main replacement. Roads are really prioritized for downtown, and we have to keep fighting for District 4 to get our fair share of our roads repaired. If you live up there, you know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of potholes and just not the attention that downtown gets. And in general, a little bit of our Measure C, it was also written in the ballot measure, can go towards brick and mortar support for our homeless efforts. That is part of what was approved in the ballot measure and the language for Measure C as well. I'm very proud of how we have used Measure C funding and for infrastructure, and we will just keep accelerating the use of that as we find ourselves having a little bit more than we thought we would have this year. And police station is a priority there.
Okay. Barrett Reed, the same question, please.
Thank you. So back to the 2017 District 4 election, there was a lot of talk around support for Measure C and priorities to leverage those funds to build our new police station, which has to happen. But today there's been a misuse of Measure C funds. Nearly $2 million was diverted from Measure C to house the homeless in a hotel for 4 months. But if we were proactive with homelessness funding, this wouldn't have happened. And this is a move away from those campaign promises. It's time to deliver on Measure C promises to residents as they were intended. And that's from our streets to basic infrastructure and large capital projects, our police station, De La Guerra Plaza, and the upcoming State Street Promenade. And as I've walked, nearly every street in our district, it's visibly clear that District 4 is not receiving its share of funding for roads and basic infrastructure. The need for District 4 council members to ensure neighborhood groups and individuals have a direct line of communication with appropriate departments. And these departments are held accountable to follow through. I've been helping residents with these issues now as I hear their complaints at the door, and it's just simply time our council did the same.
Thank you. We have time for one more question before we go to our closing statements. And this question, we will begin with Jason Carlson. The question is, do you believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion are important for the city? And if so, how should the city promote these values? Jason?
Clarify what you mean by that question, because it's vague. You mean
yes.
As far as including, what's that?
It's sort of deliberately vague. We would like
our Hispanic population and making sure they're part of city jobs, or are we talking about blacks being part of the city? Or I don't understand the question, I guess.
It's deliberately vague. We're hoping that you can define it for yourself. Do you believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion are important for the city? And if so, how should the city promote these values?
I don't actually have a good answer for this one, unfortunately. I think that we do need to be looking at diversity. And I do think that we need to be looking at equity for all all walks of life. I don't know how the city incorporates it though. So I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer for you. Thank you.
Okay. Nina.
Yes, I think we should be looking at it in terms of how we include our whole community and all voices in planning of public spaces, looking at various projects, how we look at funding decisions that are made, and making sure that we've had opportunities for many different people to participate, and we've made it very open and transparent for the whole community. Looking at, I think, operation by operation, all of our different services and programs, and seeing, how we can make sure we are including and making transparent all of our services and all opportunities. As an employee, making sure that we are, there's equity and diversity that are priorities for all of our hiring decisions and advancement. That's also a priority for our organization. But overall, I think there are many different ways that we can be taking a closer look and incorporating this as one of our values and living with it and making sure that it's front and center and always top of mind when we're approaching projects.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, the same question.
I think I've seen over time Santa Barbara have some gentrification. The only way to deal with that, it's directly related to income. I mean, the upper class, it's a class division. So I think affordable housing, a living wage are all going to be directly related to this. And what the city can do as far as policy, I'm not sure. That is a big question. I'm not sure how to answer.
Okay. Kristen Sneddon, the same question, please.
Yes, thank you. I will start by saying that through my work at Santa Barbara City College, it is such a big part of the fabric of what we do. We have students and instructors from all various backgrounds. It's considered a failed search if we open a position and then we don't get a very broad selection of people applying for the position. We have to reopen it. And I think we need to take that same perspective with the city. We should not have searches for top positions where not a single woman applied, for instance, or there wasn't a diverse pool of people to choose from. I would say we need to recruit, and I do actively do this, recruit diversity on all of our boards and commissions. We have more women now on the Water Commission than we had before. I'm actively recruiting on Planning Commission and on other Historic Landmarks Commission where we need voices of diversity. I believe in all voices at the table make a better decision in the end. I was very involved in the celebration of Chicano art at Ortega Park and very much support that change of direction in the focus of the park. I called for the Spanish translator position for disaster preparedness after the debris flow. Could not believe that we did not have Spanish translation when I was chair of Peabody Charter School, we had it there. I was chair of Star King Parent-Child Workshop, we had it there. Come to the city and find that we did not have basic equity.
Meagan Harmon. We'll get through this.
Yes, thank you. Well, look, equity means seeking to understand and then to distribute resources in accordance with individual need. And by using an equity lens in our decision-making, we can begin to dismantle systemic discrimination, for example, women, for people of color, for LGBTQ individuals, for folks with disabilities, and on, so that we can create a whole city where everyone has the opportunity to live full, healthy, productive lives. And I believe strongly that the city of Santa Barbara has an incredibly important role to play in that work. First, on the policy side, I have really supported and will continue to push to include an equity analysis into every council agenda report on every item, just in the way that we do for environmental or budgetary impacts, to remind ourselves, and importantly, to hold ourselves accountable to our commitments to equity in every single decision we make. whether we're talking about housing, whether we're talking about environmental protection, whether we're talking about infrastructure. I've also prioritized and will continue to prioritize putting power not in the institution, not within the ivory tower of City Hall, but in the hands of real residents, all the residents. A perfect example is the the Community Formation Commission, where we had one of the most diverse, if not, in fact, the most diverse recruitment ever in the history of Santa Barbara's boards and commissions. Thank you.
Thank you. Barrett Reed, same question, please.
Thank you. So, you know, it's just challenging for me as a white male to tell you that I truly understand and I have truly experienced this issue. The experience I do have, the imperfect experience that I do have, comes from serving and loving a marginalized group that is the most pushed out and excluded in our society, and that's the men and women of all races and backgrounds coming out of our county jail, and the challenges that they face entering back into a society that largely rejects them. So this gives me a perspective. It gives me sensitivity to the importance, the critical importance of inclusion and fair opportunity. That said, I have a lot more to learn, and I have a real desire to learn. As it applies to our city right now, with all the turnover in our city, these values are critical at a time we are hiring such key leadership positions. And I'm proud that we do have leadership that puts such a high level of importance on this.
Time. Thank you. That was our last question. We will now give each candidate 2 minutes for a closing statement. For the opening statements, we began with District 4. For the closing statements, we will begin with District 6. Meagan Harmon, your closing statement, please.
Thank you so much. Well, I would like to start, I guess, just as I began, by saying directly to the residents of District 6, it's an honor to represent you on the City Council. Together, we have really enacted some transformative policies to support working families. I fought to finally make the State Street Promenade into a reality, an idea that was stalled for decades by bureaucratic red tape, and I'm so excited to continue working alongside you to see this effort through to produce something permanent and something amazing for our downtown core. And I'm really proud of the work that we've done in connection with the housing crisis. As I said when we started, I'm a renter and a working mom, and I understand how difficult it is to make ends meet, particularly when it comes to finding and affording housing here. I led the charge for an increased affordability requirement in our AUD housing ordinance and demanded that the city overhaul its permitting process. I was also a strong voice in favor of eviction protection for our city and pandemic rental assistance to residents. That's real money that went directly from our city into the pockets of local working families. I've championed innovative policies to achieve citizen participation, like we were just talking about, to truly empower all of our residents, not just those who are in the know. The State Street Advisory Committee on which I sit encompasses a broad range of expertise, and the Community Formation Commission, as we just discussed. And I know I say this a lot, but I think it bears repeating. We have come a long way. We are weathering this global pandemic, and we are setting up our city to emerge more resilient, more just, a more equitable place, one that works better for all of us. But much work remains to be done, and I respectfully ask for your vote on November 2nd to continue my proven effective leadership on the Santa Barbara City Council.
Thank you. Jason Carlton, your closing statement, please.
Thank you for having me. I'm Jason Carlton. I'm a local business owner. I look to work for the community, work for small businesses and the community members, and help bring their voices to the City Council. I have a team that we meet every Thursday at Mosaic. It's a very diverse team, and I want to make sure that that team is in place when I'm on City Council. so that when we make decisions for the community, I have boots on the ground to get real-time information. I want to see the City Hall. We need to overhaul some of the planning and zoning and planning to make sure permits are a lot easier to get through. It's difficult and tough when I talk to business owners that basically say, if they knew how tough it was to open up a business in Santa Barbara, they would have moved to Ventura. It's frustrating for me also being a business owner and listening to these people that are really upset with how we run our city. We also need to look at city council to start doing the right thing. We had the parklets were built, and then they had a 4-day notice that they were going to cut down these parklets, where many of these restaurants were really upset. They spent $30,000 to build these, and then all of a sudden they're getting told they'll have a few, I think a month or two to cut them down. And it was led by the parking director, which made no sense at all. And I think this is not the way cities should act. We need to be proactive with our community and make sure that we are supporting the community, whether they're residences or small businesses. I look forward to your vote November 2nd. Thank you. I'm Jason Carlton.
Thank you. Nina Johnson, your closing statement, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I want to help as a city council member to usher in a proactive, forward-thinking culture where we're including all voices and all stakeholders in making decisions and planning projects in a more collaborative fashion. This means taking the time to get people on board and have early conversations so people feel part of a solution and proud of what we create. This is not 11th hour robust conversations at City Hall where people feel left out and unheard and don't want to participate in community issues anymore. The Santa Barbara way is listening to the community and collaborating together, listening to different community groups and having robust conversations early. We need to create a culture in the city where we're nimble, flexible, and predictable and helping people get to yes with their planning and permitting needs. I'm known for bringing people together to get results, and I've achieved so much. I'm proud of my accomplishments. Pre-pandemic, 2 years ago, I laid out the groundwork for our current State Street Promenade by doing the experiment weekend to get past talking about what it would be like to close State Street off to vehicles. And that was a time for all of our community members to come together to see what worked and see what didn't work and really see how much it was worth taking into the future. We learned so much and actually figured out how to do it so that when the pandemic came, we were ready to go. And council, I was so proud of them to make the decision to close it at the start of the pandemic. I put together a pop-up program to help fill vacant spaces and encourage property owners to give entrepreneurs short-term leases. I've put together our outdoor smoking laws to make sure that we have healthy, clean, smoke-free air in our commercial corridors and park spaces and beaches. If I'm elected, I want to tackle our challenges with creativity and innovation. Our community should be known for not just natural beauty and architecture, but good design, innovation, and arts and culture.
Time.
I know where we've been. Oh,
time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Zachary Pike, your closing statement, please.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks to everyone here, and thanks to the League of Women Voters for having this forum. My name is Zachary Pike. I'm a familiar face. I've lived here. I'm a downtowner. What I want to bring to this race is representation. I want to represent the people that live here, the people that downtown is their home. They're all the District 6 downtown is their home. Things to address, of course, like everyone said, the homeless. I want Santa Barbara to be a job creator. I want it to try to solve its issues by channeling the funds it has into creating jobs, putting people to work, a living wage downtown, doing what it can to support business downtown, and less spent on think tanks or ideas or consultations. We've had enough of that for a long time. Time to just roll the sleeves up and get some things done. If we spend money, let's spend money trying stuff and not thinking about it. That's what I want to bring to the table. If you see me, talk to me. Let's talk about it. Let's figure some things out. I'm ready to get to work, and I appreciate your vote if you would do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the closing statements from the District 4 candidates. Kristen Sneddon, your closing statement, please.
Thank you. I am a person of action. I see an issue and I act on it. I'm independent. I fight for my community. I fight for our neighborhoods, and I fight for you. You can see that in my voting record. After the debris flow, I was out on Coast Village Road listening to businesses and working to reopen them. I work with the fire department to support regional dispatch and mutual aid. I supported Community Wildfire Protection Plan. That's why I have the endorsement and support of our local firefighters. When I saw the impact of prolonged drought, I supported and worked on enhanced urban water management plan for our water security into the next foreseen drought. Seeing that we didn't have a comprehensive plan for downtown and for our locals, I instigated and supported the downtown master planning process. In growing homelessness crisis, I support a strategic plan that is in place and accelerated now and really bringing about true change. When the economic downturn, even before COVID, I supported the Novak report and I made the motion, which had unanimous approval for an economic development director, an economic development plan, an economic development oversight of community development committee, and a State Street master plan. I vote consistently to protect neighborhoods, the historic fabric. I fight for your concerns because they're my concerns. I'm a mom, I'm an educator, I'm a community member. I have nothing to gain but protecting Santa Barbara into the future for all of our futures, for our children, for our grandchildren. My endorsements include the local firefighters, Sierra Club, Planned Parenthood Action Fund, former mayors Helene Schneider, Sheila Lodge, Hannah Beth Jackson. They know I work hard and care for our community, and I work hard for you, for our residents, and I ask for your vote to continue this important work.
Thank you. Barrett Reed, your closing statement, please.
Thank you. So as I continue to knock on doors, it really is amazing how many people and families in District 4 share these common ideas and common concerns about the future of our neighborhoods and our city. And for me, these past 4 years have been a true wake-up call. And I feel that it's been for many. I'm a native to Santa Barbara with a growing young family, and I just simply don't feel content on the sideline. I feel compelled to take action. And that's because this is just not the Santa Barbara it once was or what it should be. And we have this city without vision and without action where it matters the most. We're a city that's lost our local focus. I'm a local, I'm an independent. I'm firmly committed to a nonpartisan local focus. I have a deep desire to turn our special city around. And I'm dedicated to maintaining the quality of life characteristic of our beautiful District 4 neighborhoods. I'm dedicated to bringing businesses and residents back to the heart of our city. We need to make our downtown clean. We need to make it safe like it used to be. And I'll provide incentives, not disincentives, for revitalization. I'll take action on our homelessness crisis with empathy and with strength, with sustainable solutions for temporary housing with services outside of high impact areas, and a return to active enforcement of our ordinances. And I believe we must assertively protect our irreplaceable single family neighborhoods from density and development. I will support fundamental public safety. Police and fire has to be supported, has to be enhanced to protect all we hold dear.
Thank you. I want to thank all of the candidates for participating tonight and for being such good sports with the various glitches, both human and technical, that occurred. Thank you very much. Also, thank you to our audience for watching. We hope that this has informed your vote. The election date is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. Mail-in ballots will be, mail-in ballots must be postmarked by November 2nd. All voters in the city of Santa Barbara will be receiving a ballot with prepaid postage to vote on a mayoral candidate. In addition to the citywide mayoral race, voters in districts 4, 5, and 6 will also be electing a council member to represent their specific district. Only districts 4 and 6 have contested races, hence our council forum this evening. Please visit the City Elections webpage at www.santabarbaraca.gov to check your registration status or to register to vote. and for more information about this election. Thank you for watching, and good night for the League of Women Voters, the American Association of University Women, and TV Santa Barbara.